I'm the county chair here, and it's great to have you all here today. I wanted to show you very briefly what we have in store today. This is our outline for the meeting. Um, we're going to be hearing a candidate recruiting report, a sneak preview of our summer, basically spring and summer and fall event schedule, some stuff on what's going on with our Decline to Sign project, our precinct delegates project. We've got something coming up with Dr. Bob. There's going to be a book club. Yay! We're going to talk about a vacant health board position just for a second. And then we'll hear from our august Michigan Democratic Party Chair, Lavora Barnes, who's already in the House, and it's great to have her here for our meeting. So thank you all for being here, and we'll get going now. So here's what I'd like to tell you as our official chair remarks today.
Don't we want to have the pledge, Jim?
Oh, thank you.
And Paul Markison's going to help us with that. So he has to unmute.
I'm going to do that.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. So let's do the pledge together, folks, and start this meeting. I pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United
States of
America and to the republic which it stands,
one nation,
under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all, someday.
You're doing it.
Okay, great. If I could ask you all to mute up now, that would be very helpful. Thank you. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what's happened in the last couple months, because we need to appreciate it more and understand how it affects us. You all probably know that we had some pretty good success with the ungerrymandering project, Voters Not Politicians, and we now have a fairly significantly ungerrymandered statewide maps for House and Senate for the state and for the congressional districts. There's been a huge improvement in all of that. Probably no such thing as perfect, definitely as good as we might have hoped for. So that's really good. So that's going on, right? Number two, Michigan's economy is going through the roof. We are the fastest growing economy in the nation, okay? And we've got three great women at the top of our ticket who are getting ready to run. Their fundraising is going well. Their poll numbers are looking not pretty bad, not too bad for this time of year. And we have every reason to think that if we all work hard, we're going to have a great midterm in Michigan. I don't want to talk about the rest of the country. Let's just concentrate on what we can do. The rest of it is a bunch of noise. And what we need to do is make sure we defend and improve our state and bring it back to the great state it's always been. However, one of the things that will really make that happen is to have lots of local candidates running. Anybody who knows political theory knows that anytime there's more activity at the bottom of the ticket, it helps the top of the ticket. And that does not necessarily go the other way if there are no candidates at the bottom of the ticket. So running for office is so important. It will really help Michigan do better. And so we want to run some candidates in our part of the state here that will help the whole state, whether we can win them or not. And I think we can, whether we can win them or not, it helps all Democrats in Michigan everywhere when that happens. Benzie County's Democratic Party membership numbers and our resources have never been stronger. That's true. Never been stronger. We've got well over 300 members. We've got enough money in the bank to finance local candidates that want to run for office. So I want all of you to look into your hearts and think about this. Please consider running for something. County commission, school board, getting appointed to a board, whatever. We need to have Democrats everywhere you look and Benzie County. And that's only going to happen if all of us step up in our own way to do that. And yeah, running for county commissioner or running for school board, particularly in this social milieu that we are in right now, that's hard. It's uncomfortable. It feels scary. But if we just pay attention to those feelings and not the feelings we have about the stuff we see on TV, the stuff we read in Bridge Magazine, the stuff we see going down the street at the county commission building, that's very, very upsetting too, but in a different way. So I hope all of us will think about this and see what we can do to help get some Benzie County candidates, to help candidates in adjacent counties get very, very, very involved at the grassroots level going forward. That's how we win. Even more important than that, that's how we save our democracy, because it's under attack. And we can either go, oh, we're under attack, this is awful, or we can go, oh yeah, well, we can hit back too, not with our fists, but with our votes and with our organizing and with our commitment. So please remember that as you go forward into the rest of 2022. It's going to be a hell of a year. There's no denying that. It's going to be crazy all the time. It'll be just as crazy as it was the last election, but I think it can be just as rewarding as it was back in 2018 when we basically put our three wonderful wise women in power and did so great with our vote totals all around our great state of Michigan. So with that, let's go to the run of schedule for the rest of the meeting here. Our wonderful vice chairman and membership chair, Kira Duvernoy, could you please tell us about one of the many, many projects we have going on right now, which is candidate recruiting? Kira?
Hi. Yeah, so there's a group of us, our committee, our candidate recruitment committee, that have been meeting regularly and contacting people in the county who we think might be good to run for board of commissioners and the two school boards. So we've really uncovered a bunch of people who are in the, oh, hold on a minute. So sorry about that. So anyway, we have uncovered a lot of people out there that we're getting to know that we haven't been a part of our group before. We have 6 people that we've identified that would be that might consider exploring a run for board of commissioners. And we have 6 people for the considering running for the Benzie Central School Board and 4 for the Frankfurt School Board. So that's really wonderful. Not everybody, of course, is going to follow through on that. They're exploring, which is why we continue to need people to step up and really think about running. It would be wonderful if we could have somebody running in every one of our 7 districts in Benzie County. But the great thing is, even if these folks that we've contacted don't run, many of them will be allies of ours and consider running in the future. Some of them are saying, well, now is not a good time, but yeah, I'd be interested. So we're really making connections and keeping people up to date and interested, and that's going to pay off in the long run. So that's the update, but please consider running. Just because we have all those numbers, many of them will decide not to ultimately run. So please consider running. Thank you.
Thank you, Kira. And I'd like to thank the folks on the recruiting committee. There's 6 or 7 of us, and we're meeting once a week, and we've been doing this for quite a while now, trying to gather names and figure out who to call. And I have to tell you, I was kind of skeptical about it when we started, but when you work a lot and reach out and touch a lot of people, you do start to get some things back that make you think, I'm not crazy, and this is a good idea to do this. So it is, we're not crazy, and it is a good idea to do this, just to confirm. Okay. So next up here, one of the things your executive committee has been doing is planning out the summer. In some ways, it's kind of difficult to do because of COVID. We're never really sure who's going to be on first and when, and it's kind of hard to figure all that out. But between members of the executive committee, we've come up with what we think is a pretty solid idea of how the party will be working over the next 6 or 7 works to help build community and help build our own party. Jane Wild is one of our great executive committee members. She also runs our wonderful Letter to the Editor project now, along with Rick Rhodes, which is having so much success. We've asked Jane to give us a sneak preview of what's going on with Benzie Dems across the summer and into the fall. Jane?
Hi, everybody. Yes, we've been very, very busy. We're working through some plans. Details will come, but at the moment, we've got items like a big thing every month. In May, we are going to have our scholarship fundraiser for the students in Benzie. And it's looking like it's going to be a little exciting. We're not certain yet, but we're thinking it will be early May. We're thinking it will be at headquarters, kind of like our Care and Joy event. And we might have a special event. Am I allowed to say that, or is that a surprise, Jim?
Oh, no, tell us all, please.
Okay, we may have a horse-drawn carriage for little wagon rides. Anyway, we thought that was pretty exciting. So in June, we are going to have an event, we're hoping, at Five Shores Brewery in Beulah with Dr. Bob, Terry Sabo, and Betsy Coffia as a fundraiser. In July, we have our incredible Beulah and Frankfurt 4th of July parades. And this year we want it to be bigger and better than ever. So come along, bring your vehicles, bring your spirit and your blue. And then in August, we're going to have a fundraiser for the 3 wise women, possibly at one of our members' homes. And in September, we're looking at an outdoor picnic for local candidates for Board of Commissioners, school board, things like that. So we can be supportive of everyone running in all of these different areas. And it's going to be fun, and we need all of your help. Rock on. Let's win this.
Great, Jane. If I could add a few notes to that. The scholarship event in May with the wagon ride you're talking about, we think what we're going to be able to do is give people a ride over to the new park that they're starting to build over in Honor along the Platte River. There's been quite a bit of work there, and it's been a beautiful thing to see the community around Honor come together around this new natural resource that they'll be developing. So people get a sneak preview of the area that the ribbon cutting will be just before that happens, and we'll be seeing some great sneak previews of what's going on in a beautiful new park along the Platte River. And the event in June, we'd love to have that at a bistro or a cafe or a bar or something, and we're still looking around for the right one. And if you got a suggestion, we'd absolutely love to hear from you. The only other thing I'll say about any of this, your excellent summation, is the Wise Women Home Fundraiser in August. Our goal is to get, hopefully, Dana Nessel in person and get Jocelyn Benson and Gretchen Whitmer there via Zoom, so we can all be together for a brief moment. For those of you who don't remember, we had a wonderful fundraiser back in late October called the Three Witches Halloween fundraiser, and they all participated in one way or another for that. And we raised them a whole big bunch of money, and it was a lot of fun. We had a great time. So this will be different kind of fun, but still big fun. So I would just say to all of you, this is a great way to get involved. If you like special events, if you like horses, if you like cooking food for a fundraiser, whatever it is you like to do, spreading word among your good Democrat friends, we're looking to you to help us with that, okay? Great. I didn't see, is Chris Kitzman in the house? Is she here? We'd like to hear from her about the decline to sign messaging. Chris, are you here?
She is not in the house. She is off the grid, and I can give a quick update on what she had to say, I think. Yeah.
Thank you.
So she says the decline to sign phone bank is up and running, trying to reach 1,000 Democratic voters by March 1st. The message is, please decline to sign the 3 GOP petitions, Secure My Vote, Unlock Michigan 2, Let My Kids Learn. So they're all, you can learn about them. I'll put in the chat some information from Bridge Magazine about each of those petitions that we're asking people to not sign. We need callers. The phone bank is open from 4 to 8 every day in February. Please put your email in the chat if you're interested or if you will call, and we'll send you instructions. And I will put the information on those proposals in the chat.
Kira,
Yes.
do you know anything up to date about the Secure My Vote proposal? Secure My Vote?
I do not.
Okay.
That is one of the ones we're being asked to decline to sign. We've not
Yeah.
been able to find out how they're
No.
doing on signatures.
I would like to add something to this because I'm working on the good petition.
Oh, please.
Yeah, so this is Marcia Curran, and I have agreed with, and some of you may know her, Joan McKay, and we will co-chair the honchoing of
Oh, yeah.
Promote the Vote
Yeah.
2022. That's the good petition.
Right. That's what I meant. Promote.
We
Sorry.
haven't gotten the papers yet to be able to collect signatures, but we hope to do that in a couple of weeks. And we only have until June 11th to complete collecting 2,000 signatures. That is, I'm working with Voters Not Politicians, and they are part of a large group of nonprofits, and many of these other groups are also collecting signatures. So we have agreed to collect at least 200,000 valid signatures. And we will only have about 6 weeks or maybe 8 weeks to do this. So it's going to be quick. I think it's going to be well organized, but we could use a few more signature collectors, volunteers in Benzie County. So I would hope that you would get in touch with me. I'll put my name and contact information in the chat. And I would love to have some more people sign up to help us out. We had a lot of good success the last time around on the amendment. This will be an amendment to the Constitution, and it will sort of totally eliminate Secure My Vote if they pass that. It will just get rid of all the bad things in that. So it's really a good if it's passed. The way this works is we have to collect 450,000 some signatures in the state and have them approved, and it will then go on the ballot so everybody votes on it in the fall. And that way, if it's passed, it will be part of the Michigan Constitution and will negate any law that is in conflict with it. So, okay, thank you for letting me speak.
Oh, you're very welcome, Marcia. Thank you so much for your continued hard work on it. I know there's a number of people here, including Kira, including Chris Kitzman, who can't make it today, who were real local movers and shakers when it came to the whole voters.
They
politicians.
were super. They were great, and but they're very busy doing other things right now, so I can't call on them to do this except pass the word. So, thank you.
Great.
I'll put my name and email address and phone number in the chat.
Thank you very much. Let's see how we're doing. We're doing good on time here, folks. So listen, Mary Roebling, who is our head honcho on precinct delegates, has a message for us. But before she gives it to you, I'll just say, look, we've got a good set of precinct delegates right now, and we've got a fine executive committee. The both are very related. Both terms end at the end of this year. And between now and then, we have to have people either re-up, and other people who've always wanted to be on the executive committee or be a precinct delegate sign up and do this. So there's a turnover coming on both of these groups within our party. And Mary is here to tell us about that and how it all works and how you can help. Mary?
Hi, yes, the turnover happens as soon as the election is over. So we need to be thinking about it now. And people who want to be precinct delegates for the next cycle, starting in November 22, need to sign up now. The precinct delegate position is probably the most, it's my favorite. I've been doing it since I was in my early 20s in Chicago and other places. Of all the things I've ever done, it's my favorite because it gives you direct grassroots connection with the community you live in. Oftentimes, we all have been going to trainings and stuff, and those trainings are designed for like Chicago, Detroit, Oakland. What we're beginning to do is to understand that we need to design the precinct delegate position just for us. What do we want? We don't want to be asking you to take a full-time job as a precinct delegate here, but we so need your help. And most of you are already doing that work now. Precinct delegates elect, their legal function is to elect the upcoming executive board. Many executive board members are also precinct delegates, which gives us a really strong, gives the precinct strong representation in the party. But the other things that precinct delegates do is to keep in close touch with their precincts. They're really a communication conduit between the party and their precincts, their locale. They advise us on people who might be good candidates to run. They advise us on issues that are bubbling up. As an example, there was an issue in Lake Anne with digging, what was that, rocks and not a quarry issue, but
it was a gravel, yeah, it was a gravel.
The gravel.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't know
Gravel
about it.
pit.
And Kira, our precinct delegates brought it to our attention, and we were able to, we can't intervene politically, but we were able to use our advertising capability and things to support the right position. Precinct delegates may do the following. They might go to doors. They might address envelopes or literature. They might make phone calls. They might help us elect. They definitely help us elect local candidates. They help us elect the statewide candidates. Their job is to, again, help us elect candidates. So we are going to have a meeting in about a week and get together, and with the existing precinct delegate team, any of you are so welcome to come and participate. And in that meeting, we're going to talk about these tasks that we foresee that we will need help with. But we're also going to talk about, get feedback from the existing precinct delegate team to find out how we can define this job more clearly to make it more viable for us. But if you've ever done any of the things I just mentioned, then you're really doing the work of a precinct delegate, and we would love it if you would run. It takes one vote, I think now. It used to take 3 votes to get you elected, but I think now it just takes 1 vote, so you can go in and vote for yourself. I have put a stack, oh, you're laughing, Deanne. I have put a stack, that means you. I have put a stack of precinct delegate affidavits in the office and in a blue folder on the desk. And the office is open on Tuesday afternoons, and soon it will also be open on Thursday afternoons. I'll be there. And we would love for you, if you've got questions, call me. But think about being a precinct delegate. It's, you do this work anyway during a campaign. And then after the campaign, your job really settles on nurturing your own precinct, keeping us informed of what's happening, letting us know where we can help our community thrive better, and where the democratic values that we hold might be best implemented into our community structure. We've got a lot of work to do in Benzie County. I'm not joking. We've got a very odd board of commissioners, but I know you're up to the task. And so call me, email, come by the office, pick up an affidavit. You're not signing your life away, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you very, very much. Okay. So yeah, I hope that stuff is all up in the chat there, and we'll get back to you soon. Promise. All right, next up, if you like pizza, or if you like beer, or if you like Dr. Bob, our wonderful congressional candidate, this next one's for you. Kira and Kira, go ahead, Kira, take it away and introduce your partner.
It's both. All right, it's Kira and the other guy who's Kira. That's my doppelganger, Kevin. He is here from Dr. Bob's campaign. And we want to tell you that Dr. Bob is coming to our very own headquarters, Benzie County, Tuesday night, this Tuesday, just a few days away, for a pizza and beer party to meet him and greet him. And Kevin, tell what else he needs from us when he comes.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm not sure why I have your name on here, but I'm Kevin. We're coming into town. One, because we weren't in Benzie County last time we were in the area, so we wanted to make sure we came there. But we need petition signatures to make sure that Dr. Bob is on the ballot. So we really need you to show up, even if you don't want the pizza and beer, though I think most people probably will. To sign that petition, and you can leave right away if you want, but we really need the signatures. They have to be physically signed. Somebody has to witness the signatures. So we really are hoping that everybody can come, have a good time, and get those petition signatures filled out for us as well.
That's great. So, our numbers are down in Benzie County. Of course, everybody has to be comfortable with what they do, but if you're comfortable coming for pizza and beer, do. If not, come in with your mask on, sign a petition, say hi, and be on your way. Thanks.
Can you repeat the date?
Tuesday night. Oh,
6:30.
What's that, Barry?
Date and time again.
6:30, Dr. Bob will be there. We'll have the pizza and beer there at 6. So come so that you don't miss it all. We got a lot of hungry people.
February 22nd, this Tuesday.
At the headquarters, in honor.
At the headquarters.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Is that something that I should be putting on our Facebook page?
Oh yeah.
I would, yes.
Okie dokie. I'll create an event, so everyone should invite their friends to it. Okay, that's your mission.
Thanks, Aubrey.
Great.
Great.
If we signed the petition at the event that was in Interlochen a couple weeks ago, can we still come anyway?
Yes.
Thank you.
It is.
Of course you can come anyway, but you cannot sign twice.
And as
And if you're a Manistee voter, you can't sign the petition that we'll have. I don't know if Kevin will have other counties petitions there.
Sorry, I was just typing it out, but yeah, you can, as long as you're within Congressional District 1, but I actually think Manistee County was removed with the new redistricting, unfortunately. But if they come from any county, I'll have other petitions if we need to make a new one for a different county. But you do have to be within Congressional District 1.
yeah. And just so everybody might be wondering, as Wolfman Jack often said, no charge, baby. It's free. So please come.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay. Hope that got at least one laugh. So listen here, back to Mary very, very quickly now. Mary, can you tell us about this book club? We wrote about it in the email that went out yesterday. Please remind us again about the book club.
Okay, we are very lucky. Our former District 1 chair, GT Long, has written a book called A Distant Rumble. And it's stories, he was our organizer from the MDP for almost 30 years. And these are reflections, these are stories. And the intermixed with the stories are also winning tips for how to win a campaign. It's a really, really great book. It tells his stories, which are funny, which we think, Jim read it, I read it, we felt like, because the news is a little bit down in the dumps, if you listen to it, this is going to raise your spirits. Oh, thanks, Jim. It's going to raise your spirits. And it has gotten endorsements by everybody, but Bart Stupak, our former congressman, and Debbie Stabenow have both written highly about it. It's being put on the political science in the schools for kids to read about it, to learn, you know, what does it take to run for office? What does it take? What do I need to contribute to be in a campaign? Parts of it are hilarious, parts of it are sad. There will be stories about people you know and people that you didn't know you knew, and the way that they will be presented. So it's fun. The thing about this to remember is these aren't just his stories, these are our stories. For any of you who have gotten up at 5 a.m. and put out signs, for any of you who have made phone calls blind into a home that you didn't know the person there, for any of you who have gone door to door, this is your book. So we are offering it to you as our next book in the book club, which is loose. I say that loosely. The information is in the chat. Go to lulu.com, go up to their bookstore, click bookstore, go to A Distant Rumble, put in your title, Distant Rumble, and then click on that and then buy it. It's $12. It'll take about 10 days to 2 weeks for it to get there. And it's a quick read. It's an enjoyable read. It'll make your day to get up and read a few of these zany stories. But then after that, GT himself will come and lead a discussion with us. And I checked with him. He said, you know, I said, what kind of questions? And he said, just write down your questions as you go along. He's generous with his time. He's a really generous guy. And he will spend as much time with us as we want. And he'll do a big Zoom with us in probably the middle of March. So there's the news. And all the info is in the chat.
Great, lulu.com. I'll just say that when I got the book, every morning while I was eating breakfast, I read one chapter, had a couple good laughs, felt a little inspired, and then went to my desk work for the Benzie Dems. So I highly recommend it. It'll make you feel good. It'll be fun to talk about. I look forward to that gathering. Okay, we got one more thing here before we welcome Chair Barnes. And that would be a report on the county commission from Kira Duvernoy. Kira, go ahead, please. Thank you.
Me again. Quick, our health department has a vacant spot on it because our board of commissioners did not reappoint Dr. Kuiper to this position has held before. He is incredibly suited to this job, very competent, fabulous guy. Instead, the board of commissioners has opened it to other applicants, several of whom applied, and all of whom seem to be lovely people, but nowhere near as appropriate for this position as Dr. Kuiper. So in the chat, I have put the emails of all of our county commissioners. And if you would like to email them, even if you don't know enough about the situation, you might just even question, why is Dr. Kuiper not being reappointed? Because we've really not had an answer to that, other than the fact that it's all becoming all too political, as opposed to health related for the health department. So I don't want to take a lot of time. If you have more specific questions, you could put them in the chat for me. And I guess that's that. Thank you.
The only other thing I just want to add to that, Kira, is that and ask is that I'm pretty sure that, you know, Benzie County gets 3 and Leelanau County gets 3, and Leelanau County's other one is a doctor, and our other one was Dr. Kuipers and now is not, right? Like that's the whole point, was that they had a doctor, we had a doctor on this board, and now we're not potentially going to have a doctor. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So that is something you could be saying as well.
Do you think, can you have, is this always an appointed position?
Yes.
Okay.
And Kira, do you know when that vote will be? Or
No, so they have one more person to interview, and we have not as yet had a word as to when that will be, although it was supposed to be immediately. And a week has gone by. So after they interview that last person, I assume it will be at the Board of Commissioners meeting that follows that. We can try to get that word out about that when we know.
Gary told me Monday. Gary Sauer.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Okay. I'll check on that Monday, probably at 9 a.m. Hey?
Yeah.
so we need to get on a stick and do that this weekend.
Yep.
Monday's a holiday, so I mean, are they gonna meet on Monday?
Yeah, I don't think that matters. Although maybe it does, it's the government building. Yeah, I'll try to find out, and we'll put out an email blast.
Okay, Kira, thank you very much. Okay, well, you've seen the wide, wonderful world of projects that we've got going, and there's 3 or 4 we didn't even have time to mention or bring in today. But Benzie Democrats are very, very, very busy right now, and anything you can do to help us, please do so. Please do so. Beats the pants off of watching some of that baloney we all dread on cable news. All right, moving right along now to the main event, folks. Lavora Barnes is the chair of the Michigan Democratic Party. She was elected in February of 2019. She happens to be the first Black woman to hold the post. Prior to being elected chair, Barnes was the chief operating officer for the MDP, which she'd done since 2015. She's a political veteran. She's got extensive experience in field, communications, and fundraising. Barnes has implemented and grown a year-round, full-time organizing strategy in every corner of Michigan. And up here, that definitely means something. She is a chief architect of MDP's Project 83, which started in 2017, and it's named for the 83 counties in Michigan. It's the blueprint for a successful organizing model now being adopted by other states in the country, following Michigan's and Lavora's lead. She's committed to expanding and solidifying the permanent party infrastructure in Michigan, which she is such a strong advocate for. And I have to tell you that some of us met with her up in Northport a couple years ago, and we're just kind of whining a little bit about, we never get any love from the MDP. And she said, I promise you, you're going to start getting it. And it's happened. And we're so grateful for that. It's made all the difference up here. So recognizing that while campaigns in so many ways will remain seasonal operations, the permanent infrastructure of the party will be the factor in close races moving forward. And she's working very, very, very hard on that. And former chair Brandon Dillon said, if you want to talk, you can call anyone. But if you want to win, you call Lavora. Well, we want to win, so we called Lavora. Please welcome Michigan Democratic Party Chair Lavora Barnes.
Oh, I love that introduction, my friend. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Hello, Benzie Dems. I do wish we were in person, at least with a cup of coffee, although I do have my mug of coffee here with me, which you can't see because of my screen. There's my mug of coffee. It's good to see all of you. It's good to be with you. Thank you. I'll start with thank you for all the work that you all do. You all are working hard in Benzie County, and I know it, and I see it, and I appreciate it. You all are terrific. We have 262 days until election day, 262 days. It sounds like a lot of time to my son, but to you on this call, you know it's not a lot of time. This time is going to fly by and we have so much work to do. I was just on a call with other chairs from across the Midwest. And one thing we all said was that this election, the 2022 elections, are our opportunity to save democracy. And I couldn't agree more. Like this is it. And I know we say it about every election, how important it is and how it's vital and how it's the one. But if you've watched what the Republicans are doing, not just here in Michigan, but all over the country, you know that this is indeed the one. This is the moment where they are trying very hard to undo the work that we have been doing since that 2016 loss. They feel it because they've lost, and their response to losing is to cheat and to lie and to change the rules. And our response has to be to work harder, to work longer, and to get folks to the polls and win elections. So that's what we're going to do. Everything and everyone is on this 2022 ballot, and we're contending with brand new district lines, as you know, because of redistricting. The good news about that is we have some of the fairest districts we have had in more than 2 decades. I've said from the beginning, if you give us fair districts, we'll win. So now we have to do that. We have to win. From school boards to county commissions to university boards, to governor, secretary of state, and attorney general, we're looking at a historic ballot, an historic opportunity to ensure Michiganders are represented fairly and that we, for all intents and purposes, save democracy in Michigan. There's also potential for a record number of ballot proposals on the ballot this year. We're doing all we can, and I appreciate each and every one of you for helping us to shut down the Secure My Vote petition. That's the one that's intended to suppress the vote and simply make it hard for folks to participate in the process. Keep sharing your experiences if you see canvassers, and it's important that we get the message out to every voter that they must not sign this petition. The same can be said for the Let My Kids Learn petition. This is a Benzie Dems initiative to allow for taxpayer dollars to be given away to private corporations to run private schools. We can't have it. We have to stop it. Michiganders have turned this issue down numerous times, and it's time to do it again. Let's keep sending the message to Benzie Dems. We don't want her money, her school voucher program, or any ideas she has on education. She's proven she has nothing to offer our children. With that said, good petitions are out there as well. We have to keep going, collecting signatures to ensure Governor Whitmer will be back on the ballot in November. And there's a potential for at least a dozen more ballot proposals. I can't stress enough the importance of making sure folks read what they sign before they sign it. Don't listen to the canvassers. Don't believe what they say. I've heard stories about canvassers saying, oh, this is about stopping COVID, a petition to stop COVID. You have to read the actual petition, tell your family, tell your friends, tell everyone you encounter. They have to read it because there's no law that tells those canvassers they have to tell the truth about what is on their petition. You've got to read it. 262 days, folks, to save democracy. We have an uphill battle. We're going to protect those women from Michigan, Governor Whitmer, Attorney General Nessel, Secretary of State Benson. We have to flip the state house, the state Senate with these new districts. We've watched the destructive measures of the Republican-led legislature over and over again for the last decade. They're hell-bent on putting an end to rights. They're hell-bent on ruining public education and forcing Michiganders to fend for themselves with ridiculous tax cuts that will stifle our economy. It will take all of us working together to turn Michigan blue in 2022. I know you're doing it already. Please keep talking to your neighbors, talking to your friends and your family about the importance of these elections. There will be so many opportunities to make phone calls, send emails, send text messages, knock over the next 201 days. Keep in touch with your Project 83 organizer, Jamie Brantz, the amazing Jamie Brantz. She will know exactly when to engage you and how. And of course, I encourage you to check our website regularly at michigandems.com. And I want to invite you all to a new program. We're launching a program around coalitions. It's about engaging specific audiences and how they can be part of winning in 2022. The program will run from February 22nd to 25th, and much of it will be virtual. And I want to give you a little preview of another program. I'm working with an organization to roll out a rural organizing program that they've built out with my help. I'm actually on the board of the organization. They're going to partner with us to bring some terrific tools and support to folks all over the state, because as Jim said at the top, It's been my goal since I walked into the doors of the MDP to make sure that everyone who is participating in our elections, everyone who is a Democratic activist, everybody who's a party member, party leader, has the tools they need to do the work we all want to do. No corner of this state is not important. We vote everywhere. There are Democrats everywhere, and we have to make sure that we're using all of the tools at our disposal to reach each and every one of them and remind them to vote. Thank you again for all the work that you do and all the work that you will do. And I'm happy to stay and take as many questions as you want to ask me. Jim, questions?
Yes, go ahead. Marcia's hand is up. Go ahead, please. Thank you. Thank you, Chair Barnes. Thank you
My
so much.
pleasure. My pleasure. Marcia, what's your question?
Thank you very much for all the wonderful things you're doing. I look forward to this year. I think we're going to be good. I wanted to ask you if there is some place we can actually see a detailed rendition of the new maps that have been drawn, because they don't always cover county lines, for instance. So even within a county, you need to know where that line is. And I don't have a picture of that in my head, and I would like to campaign for people. And I just feel sort of.
Yeah, you need to see the lines. So our team here at the MDP has done two things. One, they have gone precinct by precinct to update the voter file, the van, so that if you're in the van, you should be able to see, who's in what district. And we had to do this ourselves because the Secretary of State has not yet done that work on the voter file. And number two, we've created maps, our own maps, so that you can see them. So you should be able to get a map. I think Jamie can help you get to a map. Someone beautifully, thank you, has posted a link to our toolkit on our website about redistricting. We do have those maps, and you can see them, you can get them. You can even now, we invested in a printer, you can even order a printed copy for your wall if you wanted to.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's from the website.
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
And Jamie can help too. Jamie, I know Jamie's on. If there's a better way for folks to get a hold of those maps than that website, please let us know. But that seems like the quickest way to get to them.
Great.
Laura?
Cliff,
Yes.
Cliff, did you have a question?
Yeah, I do. I'd like to ask Lavora, how much influence does Michael Moore have on the Democratic Party hierarchy? He's such a great thinker, and he has such incredibly powerful ideas. But I'm wondering if our Democratic Party hierarchy really listens to him, and how much influence he actually has.
It's a good question. I don't know how many people are in touch with, speak to Michael Moore. I know that a couple of years ago, before I was chair, Brandon Dillon and I did an event where we got to spend some time with him, and really were quite impressed with what he had to say. But we haven't had contact with him since, which is a good flag for me to reach out and see if we can reestablish contact. But I don't know if other folks are talking to him or listening to him. He definitely has some very strong opinions and some terrific ideas. And frankly, he's also a pretty good draw for a fundraiser, right? Because people want to hear what he's got to say. So there are ways we could probably be using Michael Moore if he's interested in helping us out. I will do the outreach. Thanks for the reminder.
Well, I think you people running the Michigan party can really lean on him. He is a powerful person, but furthermore, he should be listened to very carefully by the national organization. If they don't take him into account and take him seriously, they're missing a huge bet, because his thinking is so much right on the mark. And I just get a feeling that nationwide there's a lot of feeling of I don't feel this sense of urgency that you obviously have, Lavora, but I'm just not sure that that's shared widely among Democrats. And if I'm right, we're in big trouble. And I hope I'm dead wrong.
I hope you're wrong too, because this is so serious. What's happening in this country and in this state is so serious that
This is the
if people-
critical
It
election
is.
of the decade.
It
I
is.
mean, of the century.
It is. It really is. And what
Oh.
happens now will have an impact on elections to come. And if people don't understand that, if people don't act now, we're going to regret it. We're going to regret it for years to come. So I hear you, and I do hope others hear you. When I talk to Jamie Harrison at the DNC, I know he feels it. I know he's got some frustration around, trying to move Democrats in the right direction, particularly in the Congress, where you all have seen what's happened. It's a frustrating time for us as well, but there are definitely those of us who are trying to raise the flag and get people to understand how very serious this is and how we've got to get focused.
I think
And-
Michael Moore has a
Yeah.
Cliff,
yes.
we need to move on. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thanks, Jim.
I see Terry Sabo's people in the house. With a
Terry
hand up.
Sabo.
Hey, I just real quick, I just wanted to thank you, Lavora, for for what you're doing, not only for Dems, the Michigan Democratic Party, but I think it feels like there's a much more renewed effort to really reach out to more of the rural Dems, which is important to me, is being the current state representative that covers Muskegon, but also as the Senate candidate for the new District 32, which goes all the way up to Benzie County. There's a lot of rural parts of that district, and which is kind of where I came from a rural background. So I really appreciate the effort that the party is taking to pay attention to what's going on in rural Michigan. And just as a quick note, I want to make sure I got this on your schedule. On election night, if you would, hang on to your phone, because I'll be calling you late that night to let you know that the Democrats just took control of the state Senate and is going to come.
Yes.
Way to go, Terry.
Yes.
Just make sure
I
you
know
got
it's going to happen, Terry. I know it's going to happen.
I'll
I
be
feel it.
I'll be the one calling you. So just
Please. I was waiting by my phone,
Okay.
yelling loudly into it, Terry. And I really am excited about this new program that we're going to roll out in the coming weeks for our rural Dems. I think that this is sort of the next step in what we've been trying to do to support rural work. We've actually, it's an investment, but it's an investment I'm happy to have made, and I think it's going to pay off. And I think you all are going to be very pleased with what we've got coming. So I can't wait to roll it out. I think that the team will be ready to roll it out in the next week, if not 2 weeks.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Terry, go win this thing.
Terry, staying with you just for a minute, could you tell people just a little bit about the new Senate district? A lot of people here, this is all news. So
Also, Terry, tell them how to give you money.
yes,
Yes, for sure. I'll put that link in the chat. But just very quickly, the new 32nd district starts going from the top, Benzie County, all of Benzie County, and then it takes on the western half of Manistee County, and then it goes all of Mason County, all of Oceana County, and a very large portion of Muskegon County. The district is very, very close numbers wise, and actually Governor Whitmer won the district back in 2018 with 52%. So it's something we're very much excited about. And as you saw maybe earlier, and I posted in the chat, we're moving forward with our team, getting some key pieces together, and it's going to be one of the top Senate races in the state. And I can't wait to have, for Benzie County to have a Democrat state senator for what might be the first time ever. No. So, but I feel very confident about it. And thank you. I'll just stop right there because I know we got to move on with the agenda.
thank you so much, Representative Sabo. It's so great to have you in the house. Barry Hahn has a question.
Oh, boy. I put it in the chat for Lavora. Lavora, you and I were on a Zoom call together recently with calling, and I just want to give you a thanks for being here.
Oh my
Happy
gosh.
Valentine's Day. I showed you a picture of my granddaughter a few weeks ago and you commented on it, and I thought I'd give you an update. So
Oh my gosh, that's
one of the newer
adorable.
ones.
Thank you.
Thank you. My big question was about our messaging, and I get a lot of texts and emails, and some of them make me worried that they might turn people off just because they imply that, they want my opinion on something, but when I don't give them money, that it doesn't seem like it goes anywhere. And they start out with real, I don't know, obnoxious kind of tragic comments. Like, I don't know if you have any input on that or.
So I will tell you this. This is the thing that the vendors who do email fundraising love to do, which is one of the reasons we brought our email fundraising at the party in-house.
Okay.
Because I am never going to send an email that says we're crying,
Right.
we're losing, where I'm just not like
And
that.
I'm seeing that.
Exactly. And there's a lot of that. Apparently it works in fundraising. What it doesn't work for me though, is messaging and morale. I do not want you to see an email from your party that says that we're in trouble, that we're losing, that we're behind. I want you to hear the truth, which is that we're working hard, we're fighting for you, and we intend to win. So I encourage all of our candidates here in Michigan to push back on their vendors when they try to do that sort of scare tactic email. I get that it helps people open it and raise money, but it makes me so uncomfortable. And as my mother reminds me, what you put into the world is what you get. So don't put those words into the world, because that's what you'll get back. But I appreciate you. And also the questions, the survey are also a tactic. We use surveys actually for real. So when you get a survey from us, it's because we actually do want to hear what you have to say. But I do know that folks use the survey as a fundraising tactic as well. It's become all about raising money and a little bit less about reaching out to folks and hearing what they have to say. But we continue, because it's our job to understand what the voters want and what our Democrats want as we move forward in doing the work we do. So I appreciate you. And thank you for sharing the picture. Loved it.
Anytime. Thank you for being here again. I think you're great. So
my pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Aubrey Parker.
Yeah, hi. So I have a question kind of following up on that about messaging. So I guess I just wonder how much time is being put into those issues that are sort of universal. So for instance, I know that there's this new bill out that maybe a lot of you have heard about that's in our state, but it's also happening in other states, that has to do with teachers, and they're trying to get teachers to post their curriculum for the whole year. And I have a lot of friends who are teachers. I have a lot of friends who are educators on Facebook, for instance, and even friends who vote on the other side of the party a lot of times, or maybe they're middle of the road and they swing back and forth. And even though they're educators, and I just wonder if sometimes we don't go for that low-hanging fruit, and we think that most educators are going to be liberals, but actually a lot of educators up here are not. I would just guess, Barry used to be a teacher, but my guess is that at least 50% of our teachers, maybe it's only 40, but I would guess at least 50% of our teachers up here actually don't vote blue every time. Right. And how much time is being put into that? Because, for instance, that's a Republican sponsored bill. And from what I've heard, that's also a Jack O'Malley sponsored bill, who, we're trying to run against up here. And I guess I'm just wondering if you could speak a little bit to that.
Yeah, I will say two things to that. One is that I know that both the House and the Senate caucus work really hard to track the legislation that comes through and to make sure that voters know what the bad bills and the good bills from the Democrats, but what the bad bills are that the Republicans who are in office have put forth. And we'll continue to talk about that all the way through the election. But to your point about the assumptions about folks, one of the things that the year-round work that we do does for us is help us target people more specifically than just those broad generalizations, because the way you learn about someone and the issues they care about is to actually have a conversation with them rather than assuming that you know who they are based on where they live, what they do for a living, or what they look like. So that's why the organizing work that we do, the phone calls that we make, the doors that we knock, the surveys that we send are so important to us, because it helps us pinpoint issues directly to people rather than to the broad categories. And then we can communicate to those people and we can share that information with our candidates where we have it. We try to load it all into the van, right? So that folks can see it and have it and know what issues matter to specific voters as much as possible, not just to broad swaths of the population, because I think that's a mistake waiting to happen, right? Those assumptions that folks make about people based on broad categories. It's not how we operate. It's not who we are as humans. We're all individuals and we have individual thoughts and desires. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate you keeping up on the Facebook with, like, tell the teachers, tell your teacher friends what's real and what's true and what's happening out there. It's a big part of that message getting out is you all being validators of the truth, because people will trust you because they know you a little bit more than they might trust an elected official who they've never met. So keep it up. Thank you, Aubrey.
Great. Well, we're looking for some more questions here.
I will tell you all, our coordinated campaign is up and
Laura?
running. Yes.
Rev Steve, Benzie County Normal. Okay. I just want to briefly ask you if you would could briefly tell us if the state headquarters is doing anything to reach out to the state cannabis community to encourage them to get out and vote Democrats.
That's a really good point. I don't think that we are, and we probably should be, right? I know we have a cannabis
Yes.
caucus here within the party, but we can't just rely on them to do all of that outreach. That's a very good point you make, and I'm going to make a note of it because I don't think that we have any plans for outreach into the cannabis community, but it's probably a smart way to go. Thank you.
Very vitally important.
Yeah, thank you.
And it is my fervent hope and prayer that somehow they are able before the November election nationwide to finally address cannabis prohibition and do something about it, because I think it'll make a big difference in this midterm election if they can finally end prohibition on a federal level.
I'm with you, my friend.
Chair Barnes, I do have a question.
Sure.
I saw how the party changed and how it's operating changed very soon after you got here, and we've all seen the wonderful results. What can you tell us that you've learned that really works, that you're really focused on now for this next big step? I think that in 2018, trying to compare this to 2018, we were, to see what happened was quite revelatory when people really do start working together. So can you tell us a little bit more about what's happened since then, those last 4 years?
Yeah, I think, Jim, the big thing that I am so proud of is how hard we work together instead of against each other inside this party. And that means we've got a governor who believes in the work of this party and participates in this party and supports this party. We've got 2 terrific US senators who do the same. I don't know if you all know this, but the reason that one campaign was able to stand up early in 2018 and start building was Senator Debbie Stabenow. She wrote the first check that made it possible for us to hire those coordinated campaign staffers, and she continues to believe in this work that we do. It's a big deal. And the more time I spend talking to other state parties, I realize how different it is here in Michigan than it is in some other states. Like, our folks at the top of the ticket believe in helping me invest in work all the way down the ticket. It's like they recognize that to get themselves elected, we need a strong ground game. We need folks winning and working at the school board level, at the council level, at the state house level, at the state senate level. It's not just about putting up ads to win an election statewide. It's about working on the ground all over the state. And they believe it as I believe it, and they invest in it. And I think that's made a big difference in the work that we've been able to do over time. I can't tell you how many times I was just on a call where some other state party chair was touting her Project 20. And I'm like, oh, I wonder where you got that idea, Project 20, lady. Like, it's everywhere, it's spreading, and it started here, right here, with this true belief that the way you win is to organize everywhere and to do as much as you can to support the work that Democrats are doing all over the state, not just in those 3 or 4 counties in the southeast corner of the state, where so many statewide campaigns have come in here and claimed victory, but left the rest of us sort of looking around going, yeah, you won, but what about the rest of us? This, I hope, is the foundation of our party and remains the foundation of our party for years to come, because this is how we build true change in Michigan, is from the bottom up, not from the top down. I believe it with all my heart, and I'll keep fighting for it as long as I'm here.
That's great to hear, Lavora. one other question kind of along those lines. This is really more of a suggestion or a statement of a belief, perhaps. Benzie Democrats are really very, very lucky in that we have a permanent year-round headquarters. And it was started by some of our well-off donors. They made the laid down their initial chunk to make it happen. And the rest of us have come to understand how important it is when we pay our local county party dues, throw in some money for the rent too, we do that. And I just want to say to you that it has made such a difference in a setting like this, where you drive by one crazy, dangerously evangelical Baptist church after another one, and you go into a store and you don't really feel comfortable talking about the crazy stuff you just saw on the TV the other day. You don't have any social, political privacy in any kind of setting. So we have that with our headquarters. And I just think that if the party would put down a couple $100 a month for each of the rural counties that they would be required to use to rent a small place somewhere year-round where they could base everything and gather, I think the psychological effect as well as the practical effect would be quite profound.
Jim, that's actually a good idea. And when you put it that way, at a couple $100 a month, like that, we can afford that, right? Like that's something we can afford. And I bet it would make a lot of difference. I'm going to write that one down. I think that's true. So should we start with you all?
Well, we're set. We're okay right now.
Right,
I would like to see you go after the counties where there's 6 Democrats who think they're crazy because they're even thinking about this.
Just need a place to put up a sign, right? To show that they are there, to put, right. It's like you've landed on the moon, right? We're going to plant our flag.
Yes.
Yes. Let me ask you this, and now that we're talking. So you've got an office. Is the next step staff? Like someone to be at that office, to be like an organizer for the county? What is the next step for you all? What is your stretch goal for the Benzie Dems?
Well, I'll tell you that as we came up on the last election, we were staffed, probably 8 or 10 hours a day, probably 6 days a week. And we've got, when somebody calls our office, there's nobody there. We get the forwarded call. We can print all kinds of stuff out of there. We've got all of our supplies and everything there. As far as the stretch goal goes, I think just to get people to show up and be together and to talk to each other, I think the rest flows from that. I don't think you need to say, well, we got to have it this staff then and that staff there. People will want to staff it once they become proud of where they're meeting.
Like the way you think.
But Jim, I would clarify though, that staff was volunteer staff, correct?
For sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
But I think we paid Aubrey, didn't we, for her work on that?
You guys have been paying me since 2016 for your social media campaign. And in my opinion, I think that's worth it. I don't know if you guys do, but
I think it's so worth it. And I think that would be something that the state could also help other places with.
That's true.
I would agree with that. Having a dedicated social media person instead of just volunteers. Again, I know that I'm a little biased, but I think it has really moved the marker here.
Well, yeah, let me say 2 things about that, Aubrey. Number 1, we think you're doing a great deal. That's why we just gave you a raise.
Hey, Aubrey.
and number 2, enough people don't understand that stuff like Facebook, you can do it if it's all about cats and weddings, but if it's about other stuff that's serious like this, there's all kinds of skills and thoughts and marketing and experience and algorithms and stuff that go into it. It's way more complicated than cats and weddings, and you really need somebody who knows what the hell they're doing. Aubrey happens to make her living doing stuff like this, so we were proud and happy to hire her and continue to pay her. We get way more than our money's worth back on it.
And isn't this a very good way to get to a demographic that we tend to not have in our party? Younger people.
Exactly. Yes. Very smart.
Can I chime in?
And we don't do, real quick, we don't do Instagram here because just the way that, and Twitter, we don't really do that just because of I don't think it's worth the funding here, but I think in other parts in the state that would be different. I think that in other parts of the state that would be worth maybe paying someone to do those. Here, I think it's less worth paying, but yeah, that's just my 2 cents.
Amy?
Yeah, hi, Lavora. I wasn't going to ask anything, and then I just got very inspired. Because I work with the cohort I work with is between 16 and 30, and we're working with Betsy Coffia. Even though I can't vote for her in my township, my daughters who are 17, she's going to vote this year. They want to get involved, but the way they want to get involved is amplifying voices that don't get amplified in both rural areas, but also within their cohort. And so I'm just wondering, a lot of times they get offered, hey, can you volunteer? Hey, can you do this? And we're talking about a group of kids who are stressed to the max. Their futures are really tricky. So I'm wondering from an organizing standpoint, your experience with helping to both lift up, but not burn out that cohort. Because I think that the Dems have a potential to really bring in a lot of young people, a lot of diversity. And I think rural voters would feel a lot of hope. But because of all the disinformation and rhetoric and fear, I'm just wondering what we can do to bring some hope, especially to rural young voters, and also some of the voters that a lot of us don't see, whether they're, BIPOC, LGBTQ. A lot of times we don't even think about their existence here, but they're here. So what do you think? What's the 411 from your perspective?
So
And
I
thank
think,
you.
My pleasure. So one of the terms I've been using is on ramps, right? I want to offer folks lots of on ramps to participation. I think that we, particularly in the organizing space here at the party, get very focused on the numbers, right? Like, I need you to knock this many doors, I need you to make this many phone calls. And what I want is to give people space to participate where they are and how they're feeling, particularly now. I know for me, COVID has rocked my world, right? It's not the same as it was before COVID. And so I understand that people do not have the same capacity for time, energy, or even just the pain of stepping out there and then getting smacked by the Republicans when you do it. So we've got to find ways to let people participate in our process, to feel like they are a valued part of our organization as volunteers, no matter if that volunteering is a text message, is an email, is a retweet, right? Whatever it is, thank you for doing it. That's the one conversation I've been having with our team of very energetic organizers who really think everybody should feel like they do, ready to go out and knock every door in the world. And the second thing is this coalitions program that I mentioned as I was speaking earlier is about building spaces for folks in those communities. There's a youth coalitions program that's going to be rolled out. There's Latino, there's Asian American, there's rural, there's Black, there's all finding ways to reach into those communities and allow people to participate in our process in whatever way makes sense for them and in whatever way makes them feel safe. We've got to be able to do that work and also respect and honor that work when it happens, and cheer for them just as much as we cheer for the folks who knock hundreds of doors and make hundreds of phone calls. And for the young folks, it really is about, let's make it easy for them to be involved. Let's make them feel good, even if they don't want to come to our Zoom meeting. It's okay. I still value you, and I'm thrilled that you want to be a part of what we're doing. And please don't forget to vote, right? Because in the end, what I need them to do is vote. I hope that answers your question. I'm so afraid of us not being able to find space and time and energy for those young folks to participate, and for them getting so disheartened with the process that they won't participate. And we've got to be able to hold them up, lift them up, and walk them through this. It's a tough time, but they need to know that we've got their back and we understand that they are the future.
Thank you for that. Barry Hahn?
I just trying to add to that question about what we can do more with our little county party building. We're close to the big city of Traverse City, but we're far enough. One of the blessings is how close we are, but we're not right there. Everybody who drives from Manistee County drives right past our building. Manistee County has a really strong Democratic Party. So does Leelanau. I just wonder if we can do more to coordinate and get power in numbers up here, because we're tied together now thanks to some changes in the maps. And we've always been tied together in a way, but I'm just trying to think what, we're doing okay with numbers and volunteers and we're paying our own rent, but what can we do to coordinate more with the other groups nearby and really be a powerhouse in this part of the state? Because most of the state in this area is kind of red.
I like the idea of partnering with your neighbor parties and becoming sort of like I like the word to use, powerhouse. I know some of our UP counties do that as well. They've got a group that works together. And it does, I think, make them stronger. And they meet regularly. They do a fundraiser together, I think. And they also support candidates together. And I think particularly because you've got a terrific candidate running for Senate, that together, you all together perform a powerhouse to get behind his race and make sure that he wins that election, and then stay together afterwards and continue working hard to support the work that he will do in the state Senate, to support your members when you elect them to the state House, and to support, of course, the governor and the work that she's going to do when we re-elect her. I think it's so important to keep together and keep working hard together.
Thank you. Another thing, when Amy,
Lavora,
when Amy chimed in there, and Aubrey and Ambry both, we work with young kids. Every Benzie Central kid knows a kid in Leelanau County, Glen Lake, Manistee. They know each other. They play each other in sports. And, when you were in high school, there was an awful lot of interest in the other kids in the other counties, especially opposite sex or whatever. But anyway, that might be another way to connect and
start with the young.
And I wanted to jump in, Lavora and Terry. There's a really important thing that just happened for me. My internet just died.
Ooh.
And so I wasn't able to respond to you, Lavora. And I teach and I work online and I live in Inland Township. And so it was almost perfect because Terry and Lavora, I work with a lot of young people that have terrible internet. So there's so many intersections. And so Terry or Lavora, I'm going to put my email down in the chat. So Terry, if you want to reach out to me, but we are going to start a forum for young people and work on trying to figure out what their needs are. Because let me tell you, it was not lost on me that my internet just crashed. It was almost perfect. So bring us some good internet.
Bring some internet. Yes.
Bring us. And Lavora, thank you. I'm very inspired. I really appreciate it. I was a little bummed earlier and I feel fired up and ready to go. So thank you.
Good. That's what I want. Fired up.
Yeah.
Because it's the serious time. It's serious work we have to do, but we can't do it unless we have the energy to get it done. So
we got to do it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have to be joyful warriors.
Yes. Yes. Joyful
Terry
warriors.
Sabo, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to chime in a little bit on what Lavora was saying. I totally agree with her, but I also think giving young people some ownership too in what's going on. So just as an example, that when I ran for state house back in 2016, I was 49 years old at the time, and my campaign manager was 23. And he was basically the oldest one on my campaign team for the most part. I mean, I had a couple others, but the core of our campaign team was 23 years and younger. And I just asked him, what do you want to do? And they told me what they wanted to do. They told me how they felt that they would be best for that spot. And I gave them ownership. I had a 23-year-old running the entire campaign. I had another 23-year-old who was coordinating all my field operations. I had other early 20-somethings doing some mailing stuff for me. It just, the list, and door knocking, the list goes on and on. And so what happened though with this group is because they felt invested. I mean, they weren't just being told what to do. They were doing and owning what they were doing. And as it turns out, that campaign manager has been with me in Lansing all these years. And he is now running for my state house seat that I'll be vacating because of term limits. But then also another young person on the team has already worked for one of our Senate Dems, and now he is an elected trustee over in the Lansing area for a small township. We have another young person who is an elected member of a school board here in Muskegon County. I mean, I call them, I'm not going to call them kids. These young people really stepped up and they are advancing in their own careers. So I just want to throw that 2 cents worth in and just show you what I think the value is of having young people involved.
That's so great, Terry. I love that you got them involved early and then they got the bug, right? And they became part of the fabric of our democracy. Thank you for that. I do want to say while we're talking about this, we are standing up our coordinated campaign, folks. If you know young folks like the ones Terry just described who want an on-ramp to working in politics, our coordinated campaign organizing jobs are important ones. And here's the thing. People are applying from all over the country because they want to come to Michigan. I want to hire Michiganders. So if you guys know folks who want to participate in this coordinated campaign, we're actually doing a boot camp, which is a stipend paid boot camp for training for folks to get ready to get that first taste of whether or not they're interested in organizing for the coordinated campaign. And the folks who participate in that boot camp will have a leg up on the jobs that come post boot camp as part of the organizing team here at the party. So I think Jamie can give folks the information about the boot camp so that you can send your folks. We need as many folks who are Michiganders who want to do this work to have access to this, not just the folks from, Pennsylvania and other states who want to come into Michigan and say they worked here.
You're paid $500 to do this boot camp.
We're paying $500 to do a boot camp for us to train you to get a job. Yes.
Woohoo!
Because time is valuable, right? And we're Democrats and we believe in actually treating people fairly. And we didn't think that we should ask people to spend a couple of days at a boot camp without some sort of compensation. So
that's good.
There we go.
Well, Chair Barnes, it's now 11:24.
Oh, wow. Time flies.
Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Yes. You guys ask great questions. Thank you. So great.
Okay, great. Well, we want to thank you from the bottom of our heart, for all you've done. I don't think I'd still be wanting to do this job if you hadn't come in a number of years ago and done yours the way you've done. And we've seen just great growth and change in the party here in Benzie County. And I have faith that that's happening in different ways around the state. And I think it's because of your open heart and your amazing intelligence and your great experience that you've really refocused the party as a whole. And it's paying off in so many ways.
Thank you so
very
much.
much.
Thank you. I do this work because of the work that you all are doing locally. I recognize that it is my job to make sure that I give you as many of the tools as I can to do that work that you're doing. Thank you for what you've done and what you will do.
Once again, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody.
We'll talk to you again soon, I hope.
Oh, yes, very soon.
All right, and everybody else, some homework here and housekeeping. Please save the chat before we take this down. It's got all the info in it from whenever you joined till right now, whatever time you just hopped on today. So please save the chat. Our next meeting like this is on the third Saturday of March, starting at 9:30, just like this one. We'll announce the guests soon. Way more pressing than that right now is Tuesday at headquarters. Dr. Bob, pizza, petitions, beer. What could be better? We hope to see you all there. So again, I declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you all for being here.
Thanks, Jim.
Hi, everyone. You guys, and I have
Thanks,
I have a
everyone.
quick question for the letter writing people. If they want to just stay real quick, I just have a quick question for you guys, and or anyone else. But so, I just found out yesterday that Munson is announced that they're no longer paying, or they're no longer giving COVID leave. Like if their employees get sick, with COVID. And I have friends who are teachers locally who have said that they are now worried that will become a trend and that will go into schools. And so they were wondering like what can be done, who they should reach out to. I said they should reach out to the Munson board for one, but I also was wondering if this is something that the letter writing campaign wants to take on. Again, I don't have a ton of details, but I'm sure you could research it. And that's just something that I wanted to put out there and ask you guys about and tell you
Jana,
about.
if you're still here, would you take note of that?
I think she left,
maybe do a little, oh, she's gone?
but I can email her.
Okay, great. She can do the research on that and put something together for the group. Thank you.
Jim, I don't know how to save the chat.
Go down to, well, open it up so that you can see it.
It's
on your
open.
screen. Okay, then go down to the right-hand corner and you see those three little dots there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, click on those
Got it.
and you'll
Thanks.
see what to do.
I did it. It's done. Thanks.
Okay, great.
Jim,
Yes.
is it possible to email the chat? I'm on an iPad and I do not believe there's a way to save it on an iPad.
Yeah, I could, sure.
Can you email it to me? The chat?
Yeah, I can email it to everybody if you want, whatever.
Okay, I can't save it, that's all.
Yeah, it's just a text document. It's real simple. I will do that for you, and if anybody
Okay,
else wants it, let me know.
I saved mine, but I don't know where it's going. To go
Well,
back and find it later.
yeah, I'm not familiar with your particular computer, but it's in there listed under Zoom somewhere in your files. And if you do a file search, you'll find it.
Okay, so it's going in a Zoom folder?
It's called, the Zoom folder is called Zoom, and then it's in
Okay.
chronological order for each session.
Okay.
Downloads. Do you have downloads? Is where it goes on mine.
Yep, they're all different.
Yeah.
Well, great meeting, everybody. Good to see you all.
See you all.
Good to see you, Mike. Good to see everybody. Have a great day. Stay warm.
If you
All
go
right,
outside,
take care.
if you go outside, please
Bye.
be careful walking around. It's very treacherous.
Bye, everybody.